Hey everyone! Today I'm going to teach you how to make an elevator in Horizon Worlds. So as you can see here, I have my beach oasis, and I've made sort of like an abstract elevator, but these principles can be applied to any design for an elevator that you want to make. So as a quick demo, we have the up button, you click it and we're going up. And here we are. And then you can click the down button and it will go down. There we go. Cool. So let's begin. So the first thing that you're going to need to do is create a generic elevator. So for this purpose we can kind of just do what I did before and make a circle, half circle. And so this is going to be our little elevator pod. So we can open it up and we can call it elevator. Cool. So what we want to do is we want to add a trigger so that when a player goes inside of our elevator, it will do an action. So what we need to do is we need to add a trigger. So if you open up your menu here and go to gizmos, you're going to see that there is a trigger gizmo right here, and I'm going to make it kind of smaller. So anytime a person steps on here, it will get triggered. Cool, and so the next thing that we need to do is we need to add a script gizmo, and the script gizmo will pretty much tell the trigger what to do when a person touches the trigger. So we're going to have our script here, make it a bit smaller. Okay, that's fine for now because I can't. There we go. Okay, so let's open it up, and here we have our scripting area. So it's pretty cool what Horizon has done. It's sort of teaching you computer programming in a pretty simple way, so it's fun. So what we want to do to get started is we want to clear this and delete that, and we want to start by telling this script that when a player enters into our trigger, it will do something. So here under player events, there's when trigger is entered by player. So we can add that here. So you can see when trigger is entered by player. And so what we're going to do is then we're going to tell it that when a trigger is entered by a player, we will move our elevator to a position that we want. And so the easiest way to do this is that you can create a new object which will be the position of where you want your elevator to go to. So I'm going to take another object and I'll make it circle here. And I'm going to put it up here. And so this, we're going to open it up and we're going to call this area top. Okay, and so you can change these options a little bit later that you don't want the player to collide with it and you don't want it to be visible because it's sort of just a place marker for where you want your elevator to go. So for now, while we're creating this, we're just going to keep it visible. So what we're going to do now is we're going to come back to our script and we're going to say that when a trigger is entered by the player, we are going to move our elevator to a specific position. So there are some options here. There's move to, and then there's move to over time. Because this is an elevator and you want it to sort of just go slowly and you don't want it to just jump to the position, we're going to choose the move to over time. Okay, so you can see that the default says move self to a specific position over this many periods of time. So we want to fill these spots in with our different objects here. So we're going to click on this variables tab here, and we're going to make a new variable. So So first we're going to make one called elevator. And because I already have one called elevator, I'm going to name this elevator 2. And I'm going to switch the type to object because that's what it is. And hit confirm. So we have our elevator, which is right here, and then we want to create another variable for this top position. So we're going to call it top. And switch it to object and hit confirm. Okay, so we have these two options here. So now we want to replace this where it says move self. So we don't want to move ourselves, we want to move the elevator. So we're going to drag this elevator 2 right there. And so we want to move the elevator to the top position. So there is one more thing you have to do here. You can't just put top here. There is another little, I guess, motion here that you need. So we're going to find it. It's actually under the operators. And it's this right here. It says position of object. So we're going to drag position of object right here where the position is. Okay, let's delete this and put the position of object. And so we want to move the elevator to position of object. So the object we want to move it to is the top marker here. And then we want to say over time. So I'm going to set it to about 7 seconds. Cool. So I think that's all we need to move our elevator to the position that we want. So I'm going to exit out of this and I'm going to open up the trigger. So in our trigger panel, we want to assign this script that we've just created. We want to assign it to this specific trigger. So down here it says attached script, and we want to put it to script 1. So when you do that, it's going to tell you to assign those two variables that you created before. It needs to know what objects are you talking about. So right here is the top one. So what we're going to do is we're going to open up our top marker, and right here we're going to take it the little variable marker. We're going to hold the trigger down and drag it over here, and so that it will get assigned to top. And then we can close that. Then we're going to open up the elevator, and we're going to take the little elevator marker and we're going to assign it to elevator. Okay, so both of those have been assigned, and I think that looks good. Okay. So now what should happen is a person should jump up onto here, it should hit the trigger, and then this will move up to a new position. So let's test this out. Oh, okay, it moved without me, but I did touch the trigger and it did move up. So that will get you a basic upward movement. So I realize now that, you know, this is supposed to be an elevator, so we probably want to have buttons instead of just jumping up on the platform. So what we can do is we can create a little button icon like I've made them here. So let's just do that quickly. So we'll create kind of like, actually we'll just have, yeah, we'll just attach them here. So let's create our button. So we have a little, oops. Okay, we can add like an up arrow key. And then we can add a down arrow key. And then we can paint them really quickly. Okay, so it's not perfect, but just for the sake, we'll put it down here. So what you are doing here is pretty much this trigger is the button. So anytime, you know, a person touches the trigger or steps on the trigger, it will do the motion that's assigned to it. So we can just move this trigger and put it right over the button that we want. So just like that. Cool. So now if we go back to our preview, if we click the up button, there it goes. Okay, cool. So now we can assign the downward button. So it's going to be pretty similar. So what we want to do is we could probably just duplicate this script tag that we have, and then let's open it up. And so we're going to have to change a few things here. So let's change the script to, let's change it to script 2 down. The other one was just called script 1. Okay, so we're saying when the trigger is entered by the player, we want to move the elevator to the position of another marker over a specific amount of time. So the only thing that's going to change for making the second button is that we need to add a second trigger and a second marker. So we already have our first marker, which is here, so we can duplicate it and bring it down here. Oops. And so let's open it up. Let's call it down. Okay, and then what we want to do is we want to make a new variable over here, and we want to call it down. Set it to object and hit confirm. And then you want to, instead of having top here, you want to put down. And so that looks good. So when the trigger is entered by the player, move the elevator to the position of the down. Okay, so that's script number 2. So now we need to create another trigger, and let's put it for the down arrow key. So I'm gonna grab it. Okay. And then let's open up this trigger. Great. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna assign it to the script 2 for going down, and we're gonna assign down to the downward marker, which is this one. Take that down and put it here. Okay, and then assign the elevator . Cool, so now we have down assigned to the down marker and elevator assigned to elevator, and great. So let's close that, and then let's test it out. Okay, so it's up there. Let's try clicking down, and it's coming down. Cool, let's hit up. Up. There we go. And it's going up. So yeah, that's how to create an elevator. And so obviously you can make the shape of the elevator to be whatever you want. You can make it a square, like a real elevator looking, and then, you know, assign that as the elevator. And then I guess one thing that we could do is that you can open up these markers, and I would make them non-collidable and also non-visible so that you don't see them. We can do the same thing with the other one. Cool, so we just have a flying little circle here, and bring it down. Come on. There we go. Awesome. And now you have your own elevator. Thanks for watching.